Hello, hello. We're back again. This is the Union Tapes episode number 6, and it's with an old friend of mine who I met when he was about 14 in the mid-90s. It's Scott Malyon, who was one of the big breakout names in the late 90s from the UK. Whenever he was at an event or a riding spot in general, you always had your eye on him because he was going higher than anyone, further than anyone, and tweaking everything more than anyone. He was generally just the standout wherever he was. Scott ended up riding for the super elite T1 team back in the 90s, early 2000s, and even ended up with his own T1 signature barcode frame. We talk about that. We talk about pretty much everything else, how he got started, what sponsors he picked up along the way, breaking bike parts, contest thoughts and philosophy, the UK scene, getting invited on road falls in the USA twice. We cover it all, and it's a pretty good journey he's had in his 30 plus years of riding BMX. Hope you enjoy this one, and if you feel like it, please give us a subscribe and a like. Yeah, help us out. Enjoy. Right, we're good. Right, we'll start with like the first of the easy early stuff. Born and raised, and sort of like, you know, where you're from and where you grew up, basically.
So I was born and raised in Gravesend in Kent, and pretty much still live there now. I live like a few miles up the road in a place called Cliffwoods, so still in Gravesend area.
Still in the same area.
Yeah.
You ever go to the skate park? There was a concrete park there back in the, I think it went early 90s actually.
Gravesend. There was one in Gillingham.
Yeah, no, there was one in Gravesend, yeah.
One in I know there was a BMX racetrack, which was just up the road from where I used to live, but that closed down just before I was kind of old enough to ride it. But the concrete park, there was a big empty swimming pool in Gravesend. That's the one. That's it, yeah, I went there.
Oh, you went there?
I went there once, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, but I was seriously young.
Yeah.
And so that was just a big empty swimming pool that people had just taken over, built ramps in. The locker rooms were full of like quarter pipes, pretty roughly built. And apparently it was amazing, but I only went there once. And then they filled it in, and they kind of promised that they would build, you know, like, oh, we've got so much interest, like, you know, building, like kids are just building stuff. We're going to build a skate park for you. It never happened. I don't think we ever got one. I think we got one like in maybe early 2000, maybe. So took them like 25 years to build it.
I only know that through like old 80s magazines. It was listed like Gravesend Skate Park, concrete.
Empty swimming pool.
Yeah.
The land's still there, but they haven't built on it because obviously it's just.
What, did they fill it? Or?
Yeah, they just filled it. So it's probably just a sinkhole waiting to happen.
Oh, madness. And what, did you go there on a bike or on a skateboard?
Yeah, on a bike. Probably a rally burner. I've got no idea how old I was. Probably too young to be riding like 4 miles into town. But yeah.
Oh, nice. What sort of age did you learn to ride a bike?
I don't know. I suppose kind of always had a bike. I remember seeing probably my first introduction to it was probably BMX Beat on telly. Oh, okay. So I think that was out around 80s, sort of early 80s. So I was born in 80. BMX Beat went on to about 86, 87. So it's kind of, it was something that I was seeing, and then probably like repeats on telly. And then probably that. Maybe BMX Bandits, the film as well, because that came out in early 80s. And my brother is a little bit older than me, and he used to ride BMX. Oh, he had a BMX, Yeah, so it's kind of, he was constantly like, you should get a BMX, you should get a BMX. Now I got one.
Well, what's the age difference between you and him?
I think he's 4 years older than me, 4 or 5. I'm not good with numbers.
How long did he ride for?
Up until like his kind of teenage years, I suppose, like late teenage years, and then kind of went off and done other stuff.
So did you inherit these bikes, or did you have
Yeah, we used to get, so I had a DP Firebird.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Firebird freestyler.
English. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had an Amico freestyler, which was basically a rip off of it.
Yeah.
And I think there was one called a Silver Fox.
That's right. Yeah.
Silver Fox.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, just inherited all those. They were kind of on there.
But they was his bikes.
Yeah, they kind of inherited those, but they fell apart. Like my freestyler, the DP one, that kind of snapped and had to be welded and then welded again, and like had like this gusset was just kind of like just growing down the top tube and down tube stuff to try and hold it together. So yeah, good fun.
So did you get a complete bike, or you just inherited your brother's old bikes?
Just inherited my brother's old bikes, and then a group of, this is probably when I was a little bit older, a group of us were riding together, and we'd just, I think where BMX was kind of like dying off around that time, there was just an abundance of just bits and
old
bobs.
Scraps.
Yeah, old scraps like Z rims, which are like rare as shit now. But back then you could just be like, oh, there's a pair of Z rims over there, or a pair of landing gear forks. There was just stuff like everywhere.
You couldn't even throw it away, like really.
No.
At one point, it was just like worthless, like completely worthless.
So it was kind of hand-me-downs off my brother, and never really got a new bike. It was just always hand-me-downs, or just bikes that you just find and give them a new spray job.
Or what would you do? Just ride them like locally around the?
Yeah. So we'd build jumps. So up the road from where I lived, there was a leisure centre. And we just built some jumps there, or some woods that were nearby that had like a bomb hole in it. We'd go and ride that.
Did you dig with shovels, or just go and jump? Like,
well, I remember at first we used to kind of go into the woods and just build a track. Like you'd get broken logs and you just build a circuit or a track, and you'd race around that. And then you might kind of like scrape a few bumps together, and then let's get a shovel, let's build something bigger. And and then it all began around then.
Oh, I didn't realise you got into it so early. You must have been like 8 or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think all kids kind of got into it back then, didn't they? They kind of.
Yeah, but at that point in time, it was.
Yeah, it was
going down.
It was because between probably 87 and.
87 was on a heavy decline. Yeah.
And like early 90s, it started. It didn't even pick up then. It's like.
Sort of 94, it started creeping back up. 93, 94, it's like slowly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But we were in Gravesend, and where I live, we were trying to keep it alive.
So you were like 14?
Yeah.
By the time it sort of was on its way back.
Yeah, probably about 14. I'd say 14 was when I got my first proper bike. Yeah. Before that, I know I had a PK Ripper that was handed down to me.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But the seat tube was snapped off, so I was riding without a seat post.
Just nothing?
Yeah, just nothing.
No seat or seat post?
So the bit on the top, because there was like 2 PK Rippers, weren't there?
Yeah.
So one that had like just a normal seat tube, and then you had one that was mixed with a kind of a quad angle, had like a clamp.
It had like an oval shape to it. That was a later one. Yeah.
I had the early one, and the bit had snapped off, and just no seat post, no seat tube.
What colour was that?
White.
Oh, nice.
So
it was a bit of cash now.
Yeah. But it broke. Good bike, but it just didn't.
And who was you riding with? Like, what was the local crew like?
So I rode with just some random kids, ones that I probably haven't seen for I don't know how long. But then there was a few people, like older guys, like Dan Barnard, a guy called Gordy.
Yeah, I remember.
And then another guy called Mark Gaskill. And they were heavy influence, like as I was growing up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were good to ride with. And they're quite a bit older than me. They're probably like a good 10 years older than me. So I'm kind of like early teens. They're kind of early 20s. And so they're good influence.
So they live local?
Yeah, they live local because they'd be driving at the time as well. So they like lived within 5 miles.
Yeah.
And so my Gordy, my friend, I remember getting loads of bits for Christmas for my bike, like new brakes, new brake levers, and so I went up to ride up the local ramp up the road. And I'm well happy with all my new bits, and this Gordy's there, and he's like, "Well, what you got brakes for? They stop you doing things." I ain't got any brakes, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to take my brakes off now. So they're kind of a good and bad influence. And he was a little bit nuts, and we used to just just bat off each other, riding the vert ramp up the road from my
So
house.
where was the vert ramp? The metal one, was it?
The metal one was literally at that leisure centre I mentioned earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Where we used to build jumps and stuff. They built a vert ramp there. Terrible, but it was...
The rare unit or something?
Yeah, rare unit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it was probably about 10 feet high, over vert both sides. Like kind of as you rode it, the whole thing was kind of rocking in and out.
I've never even heard, other than pictures of you, I've never seen it in anything. Yeah,
pretty horrible, but it's all we had.
And that was that mostly BMXers or people skated as well?
A few skaters went up there. None. The only guy that people might know is a guy called Harvey. Turns up at ROM every now and then, does like a rock and roll in the pool.
Okay.
Like he's got big long dreadlocks. Does a rock and roll in the pool and then leaves. Like he's got some skills.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. So did you ride Gillingham?
Never made it to
You
Gillingham.
never made it. How far was that from you?
Probably about 5 miles.
Oh, not far.
But I think, when did that get filled in?
89 possibly? 88?
Probably, I would have only been like 8 or 9. So I never would have.
No.
But there was always that kind of...
There was the talk of it.
There's still talk now. Like I spoke to Fids about it and he's like, we need to go down there with high-vis jackets on and just dig it out, like just look legit and we'll just get away with start digging. But I mean, it's a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that had a scene there as well. It was good.
Yeah.
So where was the first skate park that you visited, other than your local vert ramp and the pool that you went to when you was a kid? When did you start branching out?
First skate park would have been Romford.
Oh, same, yeah.
Probably when I was about 12 or 13. A group of it. I remember it pretty well. So we used to get to Romford, we'd have to ride from where we lived, our little kind of, not village, but it's like a little area. We'd have to ride a few miles into town, get a ferry across the river, then ride from Tilbury to Tilbury town, get trains into Romford, because, skate park's called Romford.
Yeah.
And it's not until you get older you realise the skate park's not actually in Romford. It's kind of out in Raynham.
Yeah.
So we used to have to ride all the way out to the park, but we were all determined we're going Rom on this day, we're going. We'll wake up, there's no mobile phones, it's pissing down with rain, but we're going.
Yeah.
And it's
decisions made.
It's 8 o'clock in the morning, it's pissing down with rain, it's going to rain all day, but we're going. So we just went, got there. I think at the time John Rom's sister was working there, maybe.
Okay.
It was a lady anyway. And the doors were shut and we're banging on the doors. She's like, what are you doing? We're like, we're here to ride the park. She's like, but it's raining. We're like, yeah, but we've come a long way. We want to ride. So she just kind of shook her head at us and just let us in.
She let you in though?
Yeah, and we just rode in the rain all day.
And where did you see Rom? Was it just folklore or you see it in the magazines?
It probably would have been in magazines. The guys I rode with were probably 2 years older than me, so they might have seen or heard about it a bit more than me. But yeah, it was kind of a
same for me. When I was a kid, it was people just Rom, and you just heard it everywhere.
Yeah, where is this Rom?
Yeah, it was completely legendary. So what do you think? The first BMX mag you saw was?
Probably Ride, I think. I think the first ride that I got, I don't know what issue it was, but it was one with Carlo Griggs on the front, doing that.
The no-hander.
Big no-hander. I think that was my first one, and it was a Carlo Griggs interview. And I was hooked on BMX beforehand, but that kind of made me even more hooked.
That was 92 or 93, I think. Yeah. I remember the cover, He's in a jacket with a full face helmet.
Jacket, kind of a sleeve, funny jacket. Baseball jacket, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's I think there's a good interview in there with him as well. He's doing some good stuff.
Yeah, that's it, on his own ramp,
Yeah, I was even more hooked,
Yeah. So, who was the sort of riders that you was looking up to then? Your first mag was that one, and then what? You just found out where you could get it and kept buying them, or you missed a few? Or
when was so when do you think that first mag was?
I think that was 92 or 93. 93, I think.
Because it's slightly. Don't want to get mixed up, but I know Ride On was around about that time. Was it 92-ish?
Yeah.
And there was another video ad, but I'm not sure when it. A video called Bald Iron.
Yeah, that's it. Will Smith. Yeah.
That might have come out a little
bit
after.
Yeah.
but it was mainly like Ride On, you know, like every day you just watch that.
Yeah.
And then Head First was probably about a year after, maybe.
Head First was before Ride On.
Before.
Yeah. Well, so, you had Head First, yeah?
Well, not an official
You had a copy,
yeah.
But you had a copy, yeah.
So we were just watching, I would just watch that. I'd come home from school, watch that, go riding.
Head First was the first, was the first one, and then Ride On, I think, was the year or 2 years after.
Yeah.
And they sort of set the pace. So how did you manage to get Bald Iron? Copied it from one of the other guys? Or?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think someone did buy a copy, and then,
Gordy or something.
Got passed around, yeah.
Yeah, that's what used to happen, yeah.
Yeah, Bald On, Ride On, Head First were, like, amazing. For a kid of that age, seeing, like, all that crazy stuff, you know. And then there's a vert, so I used to watch Head First, and then there's a vert ramp up the road from my house. I'm like, I'm going to go do that.
Yeah.
I never could, but it was like, I'm going to be a vert rider.
Yeah.
I was hooked.
No helmet.
No helmet.
No pads. Or knee pads.
Probably no knee pads then. No, nothing.
I'm trying to remember the pictures. I remember the pictures, but I don't think you...
No knee pads, no helmet. The Gordy guy that I spoke about, we had a harebrained idea that we'd try and learn backflips on the vert. And like, none of us had helmets.
Yeah.
So he's like, we'll just wrap jumpers around our heads. So we used to just do that. And I'm pretty sure we both lost some brain cells on that.
But how far did you get?
Used to just do that and then just, so you'd probably flip over a bit and then just smash into the ramp, you kind of...
Oh, you'd land with your back on the ramp?
Yeah.
So you was pretty committed, though?
Yeah, we'd commit because we were just...
So what if you was trying that, what standard was you doing the other... Like what pits?
I could air the vert ramp and like do one hands, 1 foot, and like X-ups and tire like tabletops and stuff. But obviously the backflip was
the trick.
The trick. Be like, let's learn backflips.
You 540s.
540s I learned later on, yeah.
Later on than the backflips.
I'd say 540s probably in about 94 maybe.
On that vert ramp.
On that vert ramp.
That was slippery.
Yes, well slippery.
Like
we used to have to. We used to have to spray with Coke.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And then you could get it.
Noisy tyres.
Yeah, real noisy tyres. So that Gordy, the same guy, I saw him eat shit so bad. He had a Z rim on the front of his bike for some reason. No idea. He was probably breaking bits and bobs and done perfect 540. And for him, that was like amazing. And he landed so smooth. As he pumped the bottom of the ramp, the front wheel just collapsed and he just straight into the flat bottom. And he was just like, what happened? And I'm like, well, he landed too smooth. So he kind of, out of character for him to land that smooth.
How many of you used to session that vert ramp then?
At one stage, it was probably loads. There'd be like a group of like 20 of us up there at one stage.
Oh, it was proper, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a buzzing scene.
It was like the only place.
Yeah.
So it was... it was that.
So the kids come from other, locally, but like a bit further out as well. To
people from, we used to have people from Gillingham come down, Dartford. Kids just used to come.
Yeah, travel because it's the only one.
Not the best thing, but then we used to build a few like dirt jumps around it and stuff. So you had like dirt jumps, vert ramp, and then.
How high did you get out of that vert ramp? Do you reckon the highest?
I reckon I got about 7 foot out.
That's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
But then what was you, like 14 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad.
Probably about 7 foot.
Splendid, yeah.
But then you'd land totally flat because it's so over vert.
Still went 7 foot, it's alright. That's what counts, isn't it?
Yeah. Still with no helmet. Maybe knee pads at the age of 14, but no helmet.
So after the vert ramp, like, you rode that vert ramp on Zimmer? Or?
Yeah, I got a Zimmer. I got a Zimmer for my 14th birthday. And I obviously had bits and bobs bikes up to that point. And my mum kind of treated me for my birthday and I got a Zimmer because I was just breaking bikes. Not that I was like overly good, but the bikes were just rubbish.
Yeah.
And then the Zimmer was like branded as unbreakable and lifetime warranty. So,
which people probably don't know. Well, a lot of people might not know who are going to listen to this, but Zimmer was a UK company by Steve Geal.
Yeah.
And for pretty much
as far as I know, the bikes were pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
I know a couple of the forks broke, but
I think a few of the forks broke.
Good,
But it was all. Like Steve Geal was a good rider as well. I remember seeing like pictures of him doing like some good tabletops and stuff. And I was sold. The fact that it was unbreakable, UK made, and Steve Geal was a good rider. I was in.
Heavy,
real heavy.
So did you break it?
Yeah.
But that's probably putting it for a shitload of punishment. So then, if you had the Zimmer, so did you break the forks, and then you broke the frame, or?
No. So the forks had a habit of, I think they were made out of two different materials. So like you had a real strong steerer tube, and then the forks were made out of something else. And maybe they just didn't, when they welded together, maybe they didn't like weld together too well. And they used to break. So mine cracked. So I took them off straight away. But then there's a few other people with those Zimmers, and obviously because I'd seen the cracks, I'd be like, "You want to check your forks?" And people would flip their bikes up, and there'd be cracks there. So off with the forks. But I split the head tube like straight down the full length.
Oh, okay.
I kind of thought it was just an oil run.
Yeah.
And it was a big crack. But it's probably because
seamed head tube, maybe.
Maybe might have been seamed, but it's probably like headset cups used to just blow up all the time, and it was probably that.
How much moshing was you doing on that bike then? What was you doing? Jumps to flat and that?
Yeah, of course. That was around the time when they weren't really landings, was it? Like the landing was an afterthought.
So did you jump to flat like at the jumps that you built, or you went?
I'd say we probably had more jumps to flat than what we had to landings.
Oh yeah. But that was it, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, landings were.
That'll kill a bike now. So.
Yeah, I think it's step ups. Like because of Ride On and Chad Harron and things like, let's build a step up because there's like loads of banks of like mud around, so you just build, carve the takeoff in and
wang as many tricks as possible.
Wang as many as you could.
Hopefully land with your hands and feet on.
Yeah, pretty much. That used to be the style.
Excellent. So did you go to Leon C on that Zimmer, or did Leon C not see that bike? When did you start sort of branching out? You went to Rom and like a few local areas, but then like when did it start sort of spreading so that you was going like outside of the well-known places and like?
I'm pretty sure I went to Leon C on the Zimmer, so probably around '94 started branching out a bit more. Like Rom, Leon C. Was there anywhere else other than that, really, around that time? They were the main places.
Yeah, that was definitely... Harrow?
No, I've only been Harrow, like, twice. Okay. I don't think I've ridden, like, it's literally like let's go look at Harrow.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever ridden there, really. Stevenage wasn't till later on.
Like much later, yeah.
Much later. There was Bromley mini ramp, but then that was later on still. It was mainly Rom, Leon C, and then local places.
Come to London to ride South Bank and stuff, or the ramps here?
We went to... That might have been a little bit later as well. I remember going to Kennington Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
That's just like the flat kind of like, it's like a bank bowl, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it,
yeah. Went to Stockwell.
Yeah.
I think there's a big double at Stockwell.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
I remember jumping that.
Oh, yeah?
You used to have to just...
Outside the park?
Yeah, you used to have to crank in and just... And it's barely a takeoff, It's just like, oh. But I think I made it. But yeah, we were like young kids getting trains up there, so it was always a bit...
How was that area back then?
Not sure, really. It's probably about the same as now, maybe. But like at that age, you're not taking it in, are you? You kind of obviously you're keeping your wits around you a bit, but we never had any trouble. Like
that's pretty good. His dad was bad at that point in time.
Yeah,
probably 93 or 94. Yeah,
I think we used to go like real early in the morning, like kind of get the first train up at the weekend. Hopefully, everyone else is still in bed.
Yeah,
ride and then in and out.
Was it empty there when you used to go?
Yeah, we used to get there real early.
Yeah.
Because no one used to ride skate parks early in the morning, did they? They do now.
Yeah.
But back then it was like they'd be empty till lunchtime, maybe 2 o'clock.
Sweet. Who's sort of... Did you ever go to the Ryder Cup in Spitalfields? No. Okay.
No. I wish I did.
Because that was like right about your sort of
Yeah,
just
I think so.
before probably you started venturing
yeah.
out.
Yeah, maybe just before, because that was just as Hoffman set up Hoffman bikes, weren't it?
Yeah,
it was like
that's right.
Stars and Stripes.
So you saw that in the mags, did you?
Saw it on. I think I saw some
It was
clips
on
on
TV.
telly of it and stuff, and that was nuts, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was fucking cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of gutted that I missed that. But
yeah, that was you'd have been young then. But who's sort of so it would have been like Hoffman's riding you were looking at really at that point in time, and all the people in those videos.
Yeah,
like Ride On and
just all of those, like all those main, like Hoffman, Dennis McCoy, Dave Mirra, Jay Mirra, Vic Murphy, Brad Blanchard.
Yeah.
Just all those guys in those videos were just, you'd watch the video and be like, I want to be like him. And you'd go off and ride a curb like Vic Murphy or whatever.
Most of the time, good music, good riding,
Yeah, it was well motivating. It was a lot of that stuff in the video, other than what like the vert stuff, a lot of it you could kind of relate to. Like you'd see Vic Murphy like riding a bank and just doing good stuff. You'd be like, I'm going to go do that. There's a bank just up the road. But it's different to now, where it's crazy.
Yeah, no, much more basic, but like still had a lot of vibe and energy to it, didn't it? Like it probably more then than it does now.
Like just up the road from where my mum lives, there was just like a street parade, like where there's loads of shops, and it's just like steps. So we'd just be like, I'm going to jump those steps, and then once you've jumped in, I'm going to 180 those steps, and there was you just worked your way up, and then there's bigger steps around the corner. I'm going to jump those. I'm going to 180 those. It was all just building up from
a challenge upon a challenge. Yeah. So and then I remember you came to Leon C once on a red standard, I think it was. Yeah. And it was like we used to go to Leon C from quite early days, like early 90s, before it was even metal and that, and we kind of thought we thought we would, we were it, like Leon C, like. And then like I remember that day you came and like we was on the spine, and then he was like looked on the vert ramp, and there was like a young kid like doing fucking all the latest like no foot cans,
hair
like blonde ponytail, like spinning the bars, like bar spins to no footers maybe, like no foot cans, like rocket X ups, like and we were just looking and like going, where the fuck's this guy come from? Like we come here every weekend for fucking 2 years and we've never seen this dude, and suddenly like everything's happening like over there. And then you came to the spine and you started like bar spinning the hip and stuff, like fucking doing these huge bar spins. And I remember trying to talk to you, and you just like real sort of like, didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know how young you was, And that was the first time. And from then I remember it like, oh, here's that guy that rides Leon C who's fucking real good. Yeah. But we didn't really have any communication really. Like you was just like, oh yeah, it's all right. And then you was with Tony.
Yeah, Tony
Jarrod. Yeah. So he spoke to us a little bit, but you was like off doing your thing.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like, because it had that much impact that like when we'd see you again, we were like, yeah, there's that kid. And that was, I think, 95 maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to say 95. Yeah, because I had a standard.
Because we had like video parts at Leon C and stuff, and then like you came and was like, and it was just like completely out of the blue. So you learned all of that stuff like on that vert ramp.
Well, you rode. The first spine that I'd ridden was probably at Leon C. So yeah, like going Leon C and riding the vert was, although it was huge, it was kind
massive.
I don't think I used to air Leon C. Like most of my tricks were kind of under the coping, but then that ramp was massive.
They was out the top of that. Yeah, they was out the top definitely. Because we were like, what the fuck's going on here? Like they wasn't like 6 foot or anything, but they was out the top.
Just out the top a bit.
And it was all going on like, legs were flying everywhere, bars were going around, fucking things was happening. Yeah, like Hoffman. Did you have like them?
Hoffman love bars.
Yeah, them love bars. Yeah,
surprised they even span around that. So they're like this wide.
Like 4 pegs as well.
4 pegs, 2 brakes. Love bars. Heavy bike.
Where did the standard come from? Like, that's quite a lot advanced bike for that point in time.
I think. When did I get that? That would have been. It would have been 95, 96. You're saying?
I reckon it was 95. Yeah.
I might have got that from the States.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I
sent off for it.
I think so. Yeah, sent it off. It's one of the early ones with like the chain and the seat stays were kind of overlaid, so the tyre goes through. Yeah, that was my first standard, and I remember meeting you at Leon C because I had that funny sticker.
That's
on
it.
Yeah, the woodsman sticker.
Yeah.
I can't remember what character.
I think it was Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom. I had no idea who it was. I just knew that he said, I'm not a robot, I'm a woodsman.
Yeah.
And you're like, that sticker's the bollocks. And I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. No social skills. I just bike. Like no social skills. I still ain't got them now. But,
but you was young then.
But yeah, heavy. Like like saying like I was doing rocket X ups. That's like one of the main things on Head First that he does. Yeah. The rocket X up. I used to try and do that whole trick.
I think you're doing 540s as well. Then.
540s, yeah.
I remember just being like, well, this did everything. Like he's only been here half hour.
Yeah. Probably far too much sugar in my bloodstream. I'm like, I'm at Leon C. I'm excited. Go.
I don't know who I was with, but yeah, we was watching. I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Well, I went Leon C. before then, and I think that there was a competition, and you guys were there. You had like the skull.
Oh yeah, the skull.
Your down tube. And I think everyone entered under different names.
That's it. Yeah.
Because I'm there, and I'm like, oh, that's so and like you're sweating people. You're like, that's so and so. And then a guy drops in, they're like, here's Ian Morris. And you're like,
I was Ian Morris in that one.
That's not Ian Morris. And who else? I don't know if it was either Dave Beveridge or Dylan Worsley. We're doing like a hang, they come out the spine, done like a hang five along the platform, just about to go back in, and someone just sitting on the platform just went to their back peg and they just ate shit. But it's like, everyone was just having a good time. It's like, it wasn't a serious comp. It was like just how comp should be, really. Just everyone messing about.
Was that 94? That one, I can't remember what year that was, but that was Fidz's fault because he someone's name got called and he dropped in on the name, and then from there everyone swapped.
Just a mix match. Swapped, I remember him trying to jump from. Was he trying to jump from the 6 foot mini at the back over to the spine? Maybe do you remember that?
It could have been.
Sort of step down. I'm probably remembering it wrong, but I remember someone just eating shit over that gap, and it was probably Fidz.
I remember he tried to 720 the 3 foot spine, and he just got
that might be it.
Spun through, yeah. Classic, man.
Yeah, Leon C was great. Like we used to go there, but obviously I wasn't old enough to drive, so we'd get trains there at the weekend, or like the older guys would be like in the summer we'll go there after work. So I'd literally be like just jumping in the back of their cars, getting driven there, and it was good. Like you just felt yourself like having fun, but progressing at the same time because you're just riding so much and just
on your bike all the time. How many times do you reckon you'd been to Leon C before that time that we saw you there?
Well, I was probably going there since that comp.
Okay, yeah. So semi-regular, get the train there, and then like later on, you was getting a ride there. Yeah.
And we used to turn up and be like, oh, Stuart King's here, and then like you lot would be there. Yeah. I didn't know what Stuart looked like, and everyone was just like, he's like the small kid with a real expensive bike and looks like a Roman. And I'm like, what? And then I think someone graffitied on the ramp, Stuart King is a Roman or something.
Yeah, that's it. Rumour has it was Colin. Yeah. Colin or Toby. Yeah.
So I was just you're looking around because and there's Stu, and he was amazingly good. So
I wonder where that came from. He looks like a Roman. So after Leon C, then we sort of started seeing you more, but I can't really remember where we started seeing you more. When did you start getting like pics in mags and that? Because
I had an interview in Ride, like a little tiny single page interview in Ride, but they got my name wrong. It said Scott Mellier, and it was at Leon C. I think I was doing like a no-hander, like a suicide no-hander over the spine, maybe.
Okay.
On a red bike, because I used to like red bikes.
I don't even remember that. What was that, a standard or a King?
Might have been a King, because the King would have been just after a standard. When did the King Liberties come out?
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea what year
Who shot it? You know?
No idea. It was kind of... Obviously, no one had like mobile phones and stuff like that. So I'm riding at ROM and someone's like, oh, we want to do an interview with you. We're from Ride. I'm like, oh, right.
Was it Matt Pingel? Like a tall German guy?
Maybe. It was a long time ago.
Could have been him, yeah. He was from like South London, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. That rings a bell, Matt Pingel. But
You still got that mag?
I might have somewhere. I can't imagine throwing it away.
Have to use that.
I'll dig that out for
Yeah.
you.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's a Scott Mellier though, not Malyon.
And then, so how did the Red King come about? Because then also like, so you ended up in that mag, and then how long was it until you had another picture? You had a picture at Rom Jam, I remember.
No, actually, I had a... What was the other picture? I had a picture from a King of Concrete Easter Jam.
Pink helmet.
Pink helmet, doing the
took
no
a photo
foot
of it the
can
other
and
day, yeah.
landing like a sack of potatoes on that landing.
Yeah, landing quite like far down the lane.
Yeah, that was on the standard, so I'm going to say that's around... I wasn't old enough to drive, so I'm going to say it was 96. Maybe early 97, because it was an Easter Jam.
Okay.
So maybe 96, 97. Yeah. That was 97, let's say. Yeah,
Did
that
you
was
break
like
the standard?
the very first one. I bent the back end because the like the overlight.
Yeah, okay, you bent it at the oval.
Yeah, and they I think they changed them off. Obviously not because of me, but I think the new ones weren't overlised. I guess it was a weak spot. But yeah, the standard bent.
And then you had a bit of a thing for South Sea. Was that the first? Like, because then at a certain point you got known for King of Concrete.
Yeah,
I suppose that was the start.
I think that was the beginning. Yeah. Because I'd done the Easter Jam, and I might have entered maybe the year before King of Concrete. I might have entered the vert.
That's what I was just about to say. Did you ride the vert? Yeah. So you didn't ride the vert at that one?
No, not that one, because the Easter Jam was just like a little small. They might not even had a vert comp. Well, I can't remember, but I know that I rode that jump box.
Yeah.
And quite.
And then, so after that, when was that picture at Rom? I remember that you had an early picture at Rom, because obviously, like, I'd seen you.
Yeah.
So when you'd crop up in the mags, I'd be like, oh, there's a guy we saw at Leon C, you know, like. And I remember you had a picture at Rom doing a foofing on a sub on the Mini, maybe, at an early Rom Jam.
All right.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I think so. Was that a Rom Jam or was it an advert?
Good question.
It probably was. I do remember a Rom Jam with a sub box on the metal Mini on top of the bank.
I thought it was a jam, but maybe I might not be right. But
it might have been a little bit later on. Maybe 96, 97 I started getting some coverage. Because my first ever sponsor I got from KOC actually. Remember a company called Fluffy Toy?
Yeah.
Remember that? That was my first sponsor.
I can't remember the guy's name, but he was quite nice, wasn't he?
They were quite local, I think, like kind of like Dagenham, Brentwood, Dagenham.
Yeah.
And they made that brake plate.
His name was Simon. Yeah.
Simon and Nick, maybe.
Could have been,
two guys.
I had a whole business on making a brake plate.
Brake plate.
Pretty,
limited time span though.
Yeah.
Tell you what, just weld the lugs on the forks instead.
Oh, that's killed them off.
Yeah.
I think they will. They wanted to move on to something else after that, but kind of just done what it was.
Yeah, I got sponsored by them, and they sent me a big long letter saying, "Oh, great news! Like we've picked up a good deal with GT."
Karate,
yeah. And they were going to get all the brake plates put on the bikes and stuff like that. I don't think it ever happened.
No,
but it was kind of like I couldn't believe my luck. I'm like, wow, I'm like sponsored by these guys, and they're going to go places.
Yeah,
and then it all kind of just
because I was just started working at Cyclone when that happened. Yeah, and those guys used to come in. They were quite friendly and that. Yeah. And I remember that deal, like, oh, karate, you've picked them up. Yeah. They're going to start selling loads of shit. And but it kind of just, that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It just, people just put lugs on the forks and that was the end of it.
Yeah, it's kind of a limited time span kind of product, wasn't it?
Yeah, totally, yeah. So where did you get the King frame from? So after the standard, you was on a King Liberty.
King Liberty was... I think I ended up getting that from the States because there was just none over here. You know, like I phoned around every shop, I want a King Liberty, and they're like, we haven't got none. We haven't got, because they were made in the States, weren't they? So I don't know whether they imported many into the UK or whether they kept most of them in the US.
It was Mason that used to bring them to the UK, and I know that they were limited run because we did Stuart in a week, so I know that he said how small the numbers were, so that's why
I just couldn't get one because the King stuff, I had the very first King forks.
Oh, you had the forks on the standard.
I actually think I had King forks on a rally burner because I think the King forks, the first ones come out around 93ish, and that's when I was just riding loads of just rubbish bikes to get me through because I was kind of like, I'm going
to get you onto the next.
Yeah, to get me onto the next one. But like forks were bending. I had one pair snap on me, just like riding off a curb, and like they kind of stabbed me in the chest. I'm like, I don't want that happening again. So King forks on a rally burner, which kind of the forks never broke, but it just basically
tore the framing
off. But yeah, the King Liberty, I phoned around all the shops in the UK, just no one had one. So I ended up ordering it from Trend, I think.
Yeah,
in the States.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I was stoked when that turned up.
Fucking
love that bike.
Yeah, because you had one of the first ones, I think. It was early, wasn't it? You had that frame early, so there might not have even been any to the UK at that point in time. It might have been one of the earliest ones here.
Well, I've shown Stu, and he's like, I don't even remember making them in red.
Yeah.
I don't even get...
I remember them in red, definitely, yeah. The red and the blue were the first ones, weren't they? Yeah.
I think Chad Cagey had a red one. I think Chad Cagey rode one for quite a while.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. When he first sort of appeared on the scene.
Yeah, I love that frame.
Joe Rich had one as well, didn't he, on Road Tours. And then, so you were on that King Liberty frame. You got the King forks on it, yeah. King forks.
I had a mixture. No, I had new King forks. I had a mixture of forks on that because I had those big funny shaped ones with the peg bosses on it.
Triangle sort of shape.
A triangle shape, and then I had like the proper King, like the newer ones of the normal shaped legs. Yeah, I rode that Liberty for a long. I think I had that for a couple of years, definitely.
I remember you came to PlayStation quite late on, and you still had that frame.
Yeah, because it changed colours. I think it was like red originally, and then just got into a stage of painting everything black and just sprayed it black, and rode that for a long time.
Well, when did you get? You got sponsored by Odyssey.
Yeah.
So how did that come about? Was that your second sponsor after Fluffy Toy? It was probably Odyssey, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. Odyssey was around. I'm going to say Odyssey was probably late '97.
Okay.
I got picked up by Odyssey because I can't remember how. I think that might have been Pete Yankee.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I think Yankee kind of, because at the time we were riding at Bromley mini ramp quite a lot, and Yankee used to ride there, and he was already on Odyssey and used to wear like the Odyssey shirt. And he was very kind of like prim and proper with the sponsorship. I think he might have kind of, I guess when I was getting pictures in magazines, maybe I was like, they knew of me maybe, but I think Yankee kind of like hooked it up a bit. And I got a phone call from Mark, his name was Mark Malone. And like kind of discussed like the Odyssey thing. And he's like, oh, come round to the office. We'll have a discussion, whatever. And I just learned to drive. I'm like, right, I'll drive round. It was in Brent Cross.
I went there once, yeah.
And like driving there for me was, just passing test. I'm getting lost. Eventually found the place, and he's like showing me around the office. And he said, right, let's go to the warehouse, get you some bits. I'm like, okay. So we jump in like the Odyssey truck.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this is amazing. I mean, I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah.
I've done well. And go to this giant warehouse, gets a shopping trolley, and we're just filling the shopping trolley up with parts. And like for someone that just got a brake plate bit off someone else, he's like, what tyres do you want? And he goes, just take a few of everything.
Just so they treated you good, yeah.
It's just everything.
Cool. He was nice, wasn't he?
Yeah, real nice.
He sometimes still sends me a message on like Facebook every now and again.
Yeah,
he's a good dude. Yeah,
he's well nice guy.
What was that called? That was like a camping company, wasn't it?
It was a company called I&M Steiner.
That's it, Steiner. That's it. Yeah.
So they used to import loads of stuff, and so although I was sponsored by Odyssey, he was like, "Oh, here's a list of everything else that we can give you," and it was just so much stuff like camping gear.
Yeah,
camping gear is like a lot of tents, cookers, sleeping bags, everything.
They did everything. I went there to that warehouse once and I was blown away. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I was on Odyssey for quite a while. It was when their stuff was sort of weren't that great. It
was terrible.
It was just before they started making their goods that they were still trying to push like the extra hubs like just
the extra fork.
Yeah, and it weren't really the best stuff, but they were cool. They helped me out so much.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Love that. I felt I felt
they,
good being on spot.
Did
Honestly,
they drive you guys to like KODs and stuff? I remember your name was on the van.
Yeah.
Your name was like Scott the Stallion Malyon on the side of the.
Yeah.
I remember it had like the team names painted on the doors of the van.
Yeah, that's it.
I can't remember it. Like maybe Hitchcox was on there, Yankee.
Yeah,
maybe
Yankee,
a couple more.
Andy, Appleyard. Remember that guy?
I don't remember him. No.
He used to do some, like, mainly a jumpy guy. But yeah, they would drive us to King of Dirts.
In that truck. Right?
In that truck,
I remember it.
We went to one in Peterborough. No. Either
Slough.
Peterborough or
I saw that in
Ipswich.
Slough, that truck.
Maybe Slough as well. Entering a dirt jump comp.
And you rode that comp, yeah?
Yeah.
How did you do?
Probably terrible.
Oh, you don't remember?
I can't imagine I placed well.
Because that was one where the jump, at that point in time, they wasn't using the track jumps. They were building their own jumps, weren't they? And the jump was like off the track. I remember that.
Yeah. The one I remember, I was riding against people like Curtis Last.
Yeah, I think that might have been it, yeah.
He was like, to me, like Curtis Last was ahead of his time, like style-wise.
Yeah.
He was like so stylish. Even now, like you watch some stuff that he does, like stuff that he done then, and you're like, that's like, so nice. You know, like I used to do like Suicide No Handers and used to just like dip the front end, and I'm like, I've got to do it like that. Like, he was a stylish rider.
There's a couple of good guys from up there, like where he's from. He's kind of overlooked. He rode for TNT.
Yeah,
it's probably why he didn't get so much.
But yeah, Odyssey was a great sponsorship. Like for me at that age, and they would help you out. They paid me monthly as well. It was like only like a small amount, but it was like it helped pay for things. And if I ever wanted to go anywhere, they'd help out or take me to King of Dirts. They were they were good.
That's fucking cool, man. And then so from there you get Odyssey, and then you end up on Standard.
Yeah, yeah.
What was that through? Like meeting Hitchcox.
That was through Hitchcox.
He was riding for Odyssey,
and
then you met Hit, and then obviously it was a natural sort of.
I think
he rode for Standard.
At the time they were trying to make a Standard team in the UK because Standard was a huge company back then. They were everywhere, and I think Mason imported Standard at the time, and they were obviously getting a lot in. Yeah, and Hitchcock asked me to ride for Standard. So kind of good deal.
That was good as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I used to ride Standards anyway.
Yeah.
And kind of like the Liberty was getting a little bit tired by then. I probably rode it for a good couple of years maybe, and then got on Standard, got an STA, and got the 4-piece bars, which I cut down way too much, and that was a good deal as well.
So was that when Tamblin was on the team, and like who was on the team? Hitchcox.
Tamblin might have been on the team then.
Tamblin. Can't think of it. You and
maybe
there was someone else.
Peel on it.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe Peel, or that might have been after. But it was quite a
good solid team. Yeah. Did they do any trips or anything?
Didn't do any standard like official trips. I did go on a trip with Hitchcock up to Ape Skate Park when it first opened.
I think I went there. Yeah. Was that for the contest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, you were there because I remember Cong turned up.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah.
That was with the indoor dirt jumps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they had a competition on those. So I think I entered that comp.
That's right.
Might have placed. I'm not sure. Standard was quite short-lived though, really. For me. Anyway.
How long do you reckon that was? Did you ride a bike show on a Standard?
Yeah. Bike. Was that Bike 2000?
Could have been. What was the streets out?
What was the one that was good?
99. Rooftop, 540 sprocket was 99.
Was that 99 or 2000? No, 2000 I think. Because 98 was the first one where Stu and Jerry rode in it.
Yeah.
Like where Zach Sprinkle done that whip drop. 99, I went to watch. I was in the crowd, like, filming, thinking, this is amazing.
What was the setup in 99?
Flat bank to wall ride, like here, street spine. And then the year that I rode it, the year after, street spine, quarter, flat bank to wall, quarter, that rooftop done his spinning.
Okay, so it was 2000, yeah?
2000, yeah.
I'm missing a year. I can't remember. Can't even recall that 99 one. Yeah.
Joe Rich was over for 99. Done like a massive Superman seat grab over the street spine. I was in the crowd and filmed it.
I can't even remember it. Yeah.
You had to stand there with
Yeah, we
Cyclone.
was there.
So
Yeah,
come
definitely.
down
I
and
just
say
can't
hello.
remember what the course was like. And usually that's how I pin it down.
I could be off of mid-dates as well. But
No. And you used to come PlayStation a little bit as well. That was obviously a bit further into it, right? Like
yeah, that was
98 maybe.
Yeah, 97. Probably when I was old enough to drive, so 98. But a bit of a slog for us to get there. I think we used to arrive. It was Tuesday sessions, weren't it, at PlayStation?
Tuesday nights, yeah.
Used to finish at 10?
Yeah, that's it.
And I think we used to arrive at like 9:15.
I remember you guys getting there. Yeah,
And it would just be like, go, go, go.
mad rush.
A bit like when you said you saw me at Leon C. Like, who's this kid?
Yeah.
That'd be me. I'd turn up and probably know, probably wouldn't really pay attention to whether other people were riding or not. I'd just be like, I'm in. Got 45 minutes.
Was that clip, your first video clip was from Nails in the Coffin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the ponytail.
Yeah, and I was quite surprised because there was videos obviously were being made at that point in time and you still hadn't made it onto one. I was pretty surprised that's the first clip.
What did I do? Just a tabletop?
Yeah, like
just
flat
a table.
out of the extension on the mini ramp.
Probably landed flat.
I think you definitely landed flat.
Definitely landed flat, yeah. I was good at landing flat.
You still made it in there. I think your mum might have rung Cyclone and been like, "Oh, I've heard my son's on the video," or one of your fans.
I think my mum used to bring it up. I think that was around. I think my mum wanted to surprise me one Christmas and like be like, she's like, remember the Bicycle Union jeans, and she used to phone up and just order loads of stuff. And I think you might have said, "Oh, you Scott's mum."
Yeah.
And I think you sorted out kind of like a discount and sorted out some stuff, and she was well happy with that.
Oh, that's cool.
So was I. Yeah, but she used to. Yeah, I remember opening up loads of Christmas events like Bicycle Union jeans, Bicycle Union t-shirts, hoodies, jumpers. Yeah.
Did you know you was on that before you got the video?
No.
You heard?
No. Just watching it and you're like,
is that me? I think it's a pink helmet, right?
Yeah, pink helmet. Don't know where I got that from. Probably borrowed it from PlayStation.
What, the helmet?
Yeah, maybe.
You got that pink helmet on the South Seas, huh?
Yeah. So I never had a helmet. Never used to wear helmets, really.
You lucked out borrowing the pink one.
Yeah. Pink was my colour.
So, like, after, like, you're going through standard, like, and then you end up on T1. Like, what was that through the bike show? Like,
well, it's kind of...
the timing was pretty good, wasn't it? Because, like, T1 was kind of, like, was getting a real following.
Yeah.
And it was, like, the perfect timing, like.
So the bike show, let's say it was 2000. I was riding for standard at the time, and obviously I'm there like kind of starstruck, like all these people there that I've kind of looked at in magazines, and now I'm like riding in a show with them, and Rooftop come over to me and he's like, "Oh, like you're riding, blah blah blah." Me and a guy called Nate Wessel were setting up a company called Citizen.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Do you want to ride for Citizen? And I'm like, well, I kind of ride for standard, but yeah, that sounds great. Like I'm just a kid. Like I'm just like, yeah, sweet, new offer, I'll take it. And so like from the bike show, I was going to ride for Citizen. But on the same day at the bike show, Joe Rich, like all-time like hero, comes over and goes, "Oh, I really like your riding. If you ever need any stuff, like if you need helping out with a bike or anything like that, just let me know." I'm like, that Rooftop guy just asked me to ride for Citizen. He's like, "Oh, it's all right. It's okay. It's like, like it's cool. But if you ever need help in the future, just let me know." And I quit standard, and then Citizen never happened.
Citizen run a one-page ad.
I was going to say they done an advert, and that was it. I was like, I think you might have told me, "Oh, by the way, Citizen's not happening," and I think you actually hooked me up with T1. If I remember right, because
I spoke to Joe quite a bit back then. So it might have been.
And, I think you kind of like was, "Oh, you remember that guy from the bike show?
Yeah.
Do you still want to hook him up?" The rest is history. He did, Yeah,
that was cool, wasn't it? That was like that was a good fit. That
was a dream come
yeah,
true.
I think that was the perfect fit, like perfect riding style for those guys.
Mm.
And like it just made sense, didn't it? Quite thought that was good. So you rode for T1 for quite a while, yeah.
Rode for T1 for a long time, and like had a few sort of like. Whilst I rode for T1, I quit Odyssey and started riding for Primo.
Yeah, I remember.
Because I think it was more of it kind of aligned with the team a bit more, because everyone was on Primo and they kind of like offered me that deal, and it made sense, you know. T1, like all the T1 guys were on Primo, so why not? And rode for T1 for ages. Went out to Austin quite a few times. Always had, like Fid said it in his podcast, the imposter syndrome. Always had that, no matter what. Like I never felt unwelcome in any way. But I'm just like, that's Joe Rich and that's Taj. This is not real. It's not real.
But you went on a few trips with them as well, didn't you? Like that. I remember you going back and forth like a reasonable amount at one point, like to take photos and to film, and like you pop up in adverts and that.
I went to Austin a lot, but never actually spent much time in Austin, because they'd be, we're going on a road trip. Yeah. So we've done a road trip from Austin and went all the way to Salt Lake City to see Elf, and rode with Aitken a few times, rode at Beveridge's house, and then we just kind of just worked our way back to Austin.
Was that on video, them sessions? Or?
Some of it is in the T1 video.
Oh, okay.
So where I think some of my section I'm riding at Abilene Skate Park, and then some of the street stuff that's in Salt Lake City. And there's a few sessions in Beveridge's backyard. Taj does that whip across the gap onto the shed roof.
Yeah.
I was there for that.
540 tap on the little tiny line.
That's it. Yeah. Like I said, imposter syndrome. Yeah. Oh, we're going to Beveridge's house. And,
and you drove from Austin to Utah?
Yeah. I think it was like I think we were on the road for like probably 2 weeks in total, but then we spent a good few days in Salt Lake City and went and found some massive full pipe as well. That was a good trip. That was me, Joe, Nate Wessel, Paul Buchanan, and Wiz as well, I think.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Was anyone taking photos? Or was Joe taking photos?
Joe was taking photos, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he took that, there's like a 1 foot kind of like
real good,
down, like whatever it is, like not one of them, whatever it is. One foot motor. Yeah, that was Joe.
At night, that's
at night.
That's one of my favourite pictures of that trip.
On film as well.
Primo ad.
Yeah, on film as well. So like when we got back to Austin, he's like going through all the like developed like small. I don't know what they're called, but he'd be on there and he'd go, yes. It was just digital. You can just see straight away, can't you? But
I remember that experience with Grotbags a few times. Getting
me too.
Photos. You have that as well,
yeah.
When he'd take you to it was Metro in London, where they just developed them like within an hour. So he would go to McDonald's or something and go back.
Of course, he'd go to McDonald's.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, T1 was amazing though.
And what was there any weird things happen on them road trips? Or?
No, not really. I kind of I'd heard stuff about Paul Buchanan, that he was a little bit but he was the nicest guy. Like I kind of connected with Paul quite a lot actually, and like after I come back we'd like email back and forth, and like he drew me like this like one-off. Do you remember the T1 Sharpie t-shirts? Do you ever remember them? Like where like basically you'd pay money and Joe, Taj or Paul Buchanan would like draw like a one-off t-shirt. He drew me one of the t-shirts and sent it to me.
Wow, cool.
And he enclosed the t-shirt in as well and said send one back. I never done it. I'm a dick. So, I'm terrible at drawing, so I'm not going to draw but yeah, he was really nice. I kind of had like misconception, like kind of built up in my head around him.
Yeah. Just
from stuff I'd heard, but he was the nicest guy.
Oh, that's cool.
He was a real nice guy. And all the rest were all right. Like Nate Wessel was fine, and Wiz was.
But Wiz didn't. I don't think Wiz rode for T1, did he?
No. He was just sort of hanging. He was kind of like just here, there, and everywhere, traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And then like So you end up on the T1 video. Did you have the frame on T1 before the video or the frame after? So the T1 video came out like, I remember it was maybe 2003 or 2004.
Got to be after, I think.
The frame, that's what I thought, yeah. So maybe the video came out in 2003. But that was like one of the most anticipated videos for, because it took years. Remember how long it took to come out? Like,
they were travelling for a year, weren't they? Doing the world, like the world tour for a year.
That's it.
Yeah, it took a while to come. I never got to. I got invited to go meet them on that world tour, but I'd already had loads of time off work and couldn't make it. But yeah, I think the frame was after that, because I think was it Garrett's frame come out first, and I think he had
progression. You had a progression?
I had a progression as well, yeah.
But you had the progression before you rode for T1? Or no?
No,
I don't know why I think you had a
progression. I did have a progression. I might have got that through T1. That might have been my first frame. One. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because frames are always they're in like high demand, weren't they? So maybe they didn't have any barcodes left, so progression and where Robbie had left. Maybe they kind of like just
I definitely, I remember you had one.
Nice bike that was.
Yeah, it was. Nice. It was a nice one. So the video came out, and then you had a part in that video. The video packaging was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Real cool, real different, like a book almost.
They definitely put effort into stuff, didn't they? T1. It weren't just like there's a DVD.
There was
was
a
like
strong vibe, constant, still now, I suppose, isn't it? So
everything they do, I think they do everything a bit different, don't they? Like you can see it, they've put effort in, and obviously it takes a bit more time, which but it's
thought about, isn't it? It's not just like get this out quick.
Yeah, no, they won't release something unless they're happy with it. So it's kind of they do it properly.
Yeah. And then how did the frame come up? Like what was the process behind the frame?
That was it's kind of just.
So
I was just the next.
Had the frame after Garrett, maybe.
That's it. Yeah. So it went Garrett, and then Wessel had one, and then it was me, and Elf, and obviously Paul Buchanan. I think Joe was after me, but Elf and Paul never got one. Elf got some bars, I think, which is still
right. I think it's
real popular now. So, but yeah, that come about. It was just kind of like, what do you want to do? Like kind of you're from the UK. Do you want to experiment with the Euro bottom bracket? And I was like, yeah. I did have another idea for a frame, but it kind of didn't work out. And it probably a good idea that it didn't, because I really liked the progression. I loved that frame.
Yeah.
But obviously, Robbie had left T1, and kind of the frame went with him. And I said, well, kind of make a frame just like the progression, but we can call it the regression. And they're like, I don't think we should do that. It might upset Robbie. And I'm like, yeah, probably a good idea. Yeah. So mine ended up with the Euro bottom bracket, welded gyro tabs, and then that kind of grey colour that it
like a hammerite sort of
thing.
Right?
Yeah. That was like...
And the blue stick, it was the stickers blue, right?
I think there was a mixture. I think you had blue stickers. There might have been some like sort of greeny stickers as well. All kind of the same style, but just different colourways.
How many times did they make that frame?
They made one run. I think they made 200 frames in total.
That's pretty good.
20.5 and 21.
Oh yeah, two sizes.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Well, yeah, 21.
21, yeah.
And they sold good, right? I remember seeing quite a few of them over here at one point.
Yeah. Hopefully it did. Hopefully it's not just a warehouse full of them somewhere like these things never sold. Who's this guy?
Was they going to bring out bars or something at one point?
Yeah. I used to ride the Powerlight bars, which were tiny, and eventually broke that cycle and went to 2-piece. But then T1 said, do you want to make some bars? Do you want to make some 4-piece bars? And I turned it down. I said, well, I don't really ride 4-piece bars anymore, but I'll make some if you want. 2-piece bars. I could do something different, like maybe. I think at the time everyone was into like lightweight stuff, so I was like, let's make like the the top tube, like the tube which goes across crossbars, let's make that thinner material. But they were worried that would break, like welding thinner material to thicker, and it would just break. So that didn't happen. But yeah, so it was just the frame.
And did you have a signature grip?
Did I have a signature grip?
Primo, no? Did you not have a signature grip?
No.
I don't think you had a signature grip.
No, just signature frame. I don't think there's a signature sticker. Basket Union sticker.
Oh, yeah. Still got some there, mate.
I might have one. Or two. Glory days. Yeah, tell you what, just the frame. That was quite, they kind of offer it to you and you're like, yeah, sounds great, I'll do that. And then it's not until, I think they sent me 5 or 6 of them and they just turned up in the post. And I'm in the back garden with like 6 T1 frames, all mine, just like.
Oh, they sent you 6 for personal use?
Yeah. Well, they said I could give one away. They said give one away to a
cool.
friend to help someone out, and I gave one to Darren Clagget.
Oh, wow.
Because he was riding some hoopty thing. Yeah, I think he's still got it. He rode that for ages.
So that coincided with like when you got the ramp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the ramp.
So tell us the ramp story. So I really like the ramp story. So
Ramp.
you end up renting a warehouse in South London and putting a spine ramp in it, like in 2002, maybe?
2002. Yeah, I think we've had it 20 years now. So we, at the time, like indoor skate, we did have an indoor skate park local to us for probably a year and a half, vertical skate park.
Yeah, okay.
And that was a lady called Karen. She used to have the one in like Hayes and so we had that park for probably a year and a half maybe, and then as it always does, rent flies up and they just couldn't afford to keep it. So our next local indoor park was Broadstairs, which is like 110-mile round trip, and it was only a 2-hour session, so you'd be driving hour there, ride 2 hours, hour back, and just the group of us that were going there, like Darren Clagget, they're all a little bit older than me, so they're a bit more kind of like savvy. I'm only 21, 22, living at home, no care in the world. And they're like, we should rent a warehouse and put a ramp in it. And just so happens that the warehouse next to where Darren Clagget works was empty. And we all kind of agreed on it, like a group of us. I think there was about 9 of us at the beginning. And the rent was £900 a month. So we kind of split it, said, right, we'll do £90 each, and then if anyone come in, like we'll ask for a £5 as a donut, and that can just kind of like top up. And to me, like as a 21, 22-year-old, I was like, £90 a month. I don't think I can afford that. Like, I don't think I can commit. Like to me, it was a massive commitment. But like me now, I'm thinking, why didn't we buy that warehouse? Like what an investment. But you never looked
like further than 2 years probably ahead.
I didn't think that we'd have that ramp for long.
Yeah.
I thought we're going to have it for a couple of years, and I probably would have been happy with that. Like 2-3 years, you'd be like, that was sweet. We had our own private ramp for like that long. Yeah, and we've had it 20 years now. And it might be, other than maybe one of the ramps that like Rob Ridge has had, maybe it might be one of the longest running private ramps in the UK, maybe.
Yeah, it could be. I've never thought about that, but indoor, definitely. 20 years, pretty fucking good going.
And that was, it was just literally just a group of us that were fed up with just driving, going to busy skate parks. Like you've only got 2 hours to ride. You just wanted to ride.
Yeah.
And it was always busy, like a lot of driving. And I know everyone had to like travel to parks and stuff then, but we had a big enough group, and those older guys kind of just said, fuck it, let's get our own place.
That's pretty good going.
And then we like literally, I think the ramp cost us about $4,000 to build. I think $3,000 to $4,000.
And
Andy Peerless helped us out with the wood, like big time. He kind of got us some like some old wood for like the undersurface, and the top surface is like brand new. And all the wood would come directly from the supplier rather than like everyone putting their little cut on top. And Rob still helped us build that, and kind of gave us guidance on it.
And how many of the people that first started in it are still riding?
3. All right, yeah, probably 3. Me, Darren Clagget, and a guy called Rob James. I say we're probably the only ones that the original ones left now.
What? Is Rob backflip Rob?
Yeah,
okay.
From back in all the
Backyard
old
jams,
backyard videos. He's there. He's doing early backflips.
He's been around forever.
Yeah.
Him and Clagget.
Yeah, they're both still riding. Clagget's probably, I'm going to say he's better now than what he's ever been. You see him and it's shocking. He's like, oh, I learned this the other day, and does a disaster to Canadian.
Yeah, I saw that on something on Instagram or Facebook. Yeah.
Not an easy trick.
Yeah.
And he seems to be getting better with age.
That's excellent.
I love it. It's good to see.
He's been around a while as well.
He's been around for a while.
Long time ago.
Yeah. When I first met Darren Clagget, probably when I was 14, 15, and we built a box jump in some warehouse, as you used to do, find a warehouse and just build crap inside. And this guy turns up, never met him before. I'm like, who's this old fella? What's he got for us? And he's, at the time, he was probably only mid-20s, and just
probably not even that.
Probably not even that.
Probably 21.
Yeah,
20,
who's this old fez? What's he going to do? And I think one of the tricks that Clagget used to bring out on special occasions was do a no-hand Superman. He'd do them specially at King of Concrete each year. You'd just be like, here it comes, Superman, and just get back on. And he done one of them. I'm like, that guy's pretty good.
That's a rarity even
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Clagget has been around for a long time, and he's an absolute. He's a legend, isn't he?
He
really?
rode a few backyard jams and did some wild stuff.
Yeah.
How come you didn't ride any backyard jams?
I did. I went to a few backyard jams. I went to the one with where loads of Americans come over when Taj whipped the chasm. Ockabok was over.
Metal takeoff.
Fid's done
Climber.
that.
Yeah.
No, Climber was the year before, I think, the one that I went to.
So, what chasm?
Chasm where they had a wooden run-in coming down the slope. It's the year when Nay's done that whip and literally catch the whip at the top of the jump, and he just oh. I went to that one. I didn't ride in that, but I'm in the Fids poster. I'm in the background.
Okay.
Looking like that. But then I think I rode Vert maybe 97.
In the field?
Yeah, in the field.
Oh, I don't even know,
Yeah, probably 1997, B group. I think I come second. Paul Meacher come first.
All right. I didn't even know you rode that, yeah. I'm going to have a look at that then. And you didn't ride the ones after? So that was the field, so that was probably that was the last one for a while, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, that was where it went off carnage at that night, didn't it? And things got broken and
bad things happened.
Kids got conceived. And
that's it, yeah, that one. I rode that one. I think I got second place. And I won a frame. So I was riding a King Liberty and I won a Powerlight frame. I'm like, it's nice. It's a good prize, but it's not as good as the Liberty. But now there's probably mid-school gold. I don't know where that is now.
What was it? Platform one?
Platform one. Yeah, one of the, I think it was US made as well. So mid-school guys would
do that, sell it?
I think I did, yeah. Probably cheap.
Yeah, we want to talk about this little cover here. So yeah, this cover was.
Yep.
I remember as being quite an iconic cover for what year are we on here? 2003. At the ramp, what we were just talking about.
That's when the sessions were strong as well. Yeah, so many people would come down.
I remember that was peak summer, wasn't it?
What bike's that on the front as well?
I think it might be one of your prototypes, maybe.
Yeah, that's a prototype signature frame. So that's made out of light.
Oh, so that's not painted?
Well. No, that was just bare metal. And then I think I even lacquered it. But that was that was just a kind of not a gimmick, but it's kind of like build it out of real lightweight tubing and see how well it holds up. And it held up all right. It did break eventually, but it was pretty good.
Malone 2s.
Yeah. Good era.
Yeah. That, I remember that night. It was like now, the peak of summer, hot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What was explain that one, because I remember that as being quite a.
Well,
I remember Grotbag saying, "Stop good food for that." And I was just like, "Fuck now," because it's quite it's free floating. It doesn't look from. I remember at that point in time, because especially it was coming from Grotbags, who'd never been on anything like that.
No.
But he would always come up with some crazy
I
reckon someone couldn't, and then usually probably didn't
Shut
happen.
up, Grotbags.
Yeah. So he said, Scott could food for that part.
Yeah.
And I remember him looking at it and telling me that and then that night he went there.
We didn't even set out to shoot that.
No, that's right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Grotbags, normal Thursday night, we're all riding. You guys come down, Grotbags turns up. He's got his camera gear. And typical, like you said, Grotbags, I reckon you could foo-fanoo that. And it was, I don't know how far, it's probably just over 6 foot back, maybe 6 foot up.
Yeah.
And the way the beams are constructed, there's a triangle that you kind of just got to, that's why in that picture I'm like so far back. And real bouncy as well. And Grotbags is like, I reckon you could do that.
But this was like, as I remember it, we was almost at the end of the session.
Yeah, I think
it wasn't like.
Yeah, no, he didn't just walk in and I reckon you could do that. It, like good session, had a real good. Like we've all been riding, and then Grotbags drops the I reckon you could do that. And it must have been a good session because I think I just agreed to it. I'm like, I reckon I could.
But you must have looked at that at some point before and been like...
I'm not sure if I had, because Rob, old school backyard guy, always used to joke about, he said, what you could do is jump the spine and like do a blunt on the girder on the other side of the spine and then just fall back and like turn it into a back flip. And we're like, all right, maybe not. Maybe not do that. And then obviously Grotbags pointed that out, and he said, I reckon. And then I replied with, I reckon I could. And he went and got his camera gear, set it up. Do you remember the taxi firm that used to work in that? So Grotbags is trying to set the picture up, and his flashes just keep going off, like just random. It's like, typical Grotbags. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that happened a lot.
Stressing about it, which... it was all shot on film as well, so you would be stressing. And then we finally figured out it was a taxi firm that used like radio or used something
one
that
of
were
the
in
channels.
So his flashes were just boom, boom, but like just going up. And I think he eventually found like done a channel, like whatever, like so they wouldn't go off. And then we just set to it. And I think the very first try I went straight through, did I? And ended up like just sitting on the sofa, maybe, like kind of just boom.
Either your bike or you went through. But I remember like us watching and being like, it didn't, like we was thinking, he's going to have to go like 6 foot over that spine.
I had no idea how high I'd have to go.
Yeah, we was pretty shocked at how easy you got up there. Like you just went poof.
I think the first one I overshot it because I was kind of like, high over the spine, pump, and just pretty much went all the way through. So you had to kind of like sort of tone it down a bit.
Yeah.
And then when I can't remember how many times it took to do it, but the next time I got on it and then realised how bouncy that girder was, and it just literally spat me to the flat bottom pretty much.
So the second one, I think, did you go down on your chest?
Yeah.
And one of them you went down like forwards. Like, I remember.
But it was so bouncy. And then, I don't know, what do you reckon, like 3 or 4?
It was 3 or 4 for sure.
Yeah,
I remember being surprised at how quick you did it.
And it was just like you didn't even have to hop back in. Like you were on there and you just like.
Well, you had such a lean back. In the photo,
and it was so bouncy, and it just happened. And obviously there's no one had camera phones then.
Yeah.
Oh, like now everyone would kind of be like this with phones, like filming, high fives, whatever. But yeah, it was just, people in the background kind of just like.
Yeah. I was surprised that you'd not thought of that yourself, because you tackled like some huge foofanoos as well before that.
That was the foofanoo era.
Yeah, it was.
Like, there was a back rail.
You'd been up there pretty much on all of them. So even ones that were beyond the back, like behind the back rail, the ramp. And there's one of it's surprising. But
I don't think we'd ever. Obviously, only that time when Rob had said, I reckon you could do that.
Didn't talk about it. Yeah.
No, and then Grotbags dropped the bombshell. Must have been a good session because I agreed to it and just gave it a go.
That was just off the cuff. Like, it wasn't even like, he didn't say, I'm going to put you on the cover if you do that. There was nothing like that, was it? It had just been like, I'll get the photo, you get on there.
Yeah, it was just Grotbags shooting a picture. It weren't like, if you get this, you're going to get the cover. And it was just sweet. Yeah, let's shoot a picture.
How I remember it.
I weren't expecting that.
Yeah.
And it was quite pleasantly surprised. I don't think I even
knew it was on there until it came out,
No. Because did I have a cover just before that?
You had a turn down
on
in America,
Falls.
yeah.
Was
that before?
Yeah. I heard rumours they weren't going to run it. Obviously I found out it was a bit of a surprise, front cover. Yeah. And I think Grotbags kind of said I had to fight for that because you'd had a front cover quite recently doing that. They didn't know whether to run it or put it somewhere else. And pretty happy they got the front cover.
I didn't know that, yeah. I wonder, what would they have put on the front cover? Who would have made the cover otherwise?
Who knows? But it's kind of... Yeah, I haven't done it since. I've been tempted. I kept saying to Nick, I'm going to do it again. But then, don't want to blame.
Nice.
Now I've called myself out saying that if I foofanu it again, then I'll over ice the girder.
You said to me, there's something else I'd like to do, and I knew you were talking about over ice. Yeah, neither of us said anything, but I knew he was like, that's what you're on about.
As you get older, you're kind of weighing up to, shall I? Do I need to? I'd like to, because it's in my head. It's there, it's kind of constantly. I feel like I should, and maybe I will one day.
I wonder if that thing would hold, and because it's an ice pick, there's no give on it, is there? It's just metal.
I think it'd lock in quite nice because that angle.
But would the beam flex more?
I don't know.
Would that still?
I don't know if I'd feel more comfortable doing the over ice than the foof.
More comfortable, you think?
Maybe,
because the lean's more natural, I guess.
Because you're kind of in this position rather than that. You it feels like you're already. But then sometimes you get that you're trying to hop away from something like that, and you don't actually get that anti-hop, and then. But it's in my head to do it again. It might.
I think that the possibility of crashing on the over ice is not as harsh as the foofanu.
Yeah, I know.
Because the angle that
because
you're
you
going
can
to go in,
almost step off.
You kind of just
let the bike go and just step. It's quite a big step.
Yeah.
But it's in my head, and it's there.
And how long do you think you're going to have that ramp for? How many more years you got in it?
I don't know. I reckon we've probably got another 3 years. If we get more than that, I'll be surprised, because that whole area is just, it's pretty. Where the ramp is right now is pretty grim, but to the left is nice. To the right is nice. It's coming in, and it makes sense. I'm not. It makes sense. It makes sense for them to get rid of an industrial, grim area and turn it into apartments, whatever.
Is it all the rest of the industrial units taken still? They're still functioning.
They're still functioning. Yeah, so there'll be a lot of businesses that will kind of get hoofed out, but it's going to happen. And then hopefully there'll be enough of us left that will maybe continue
migrate to somewhere else.
Yeah. Because there's probably places closer to where I live that are cheaper, and then if it was closer to where I live, we might get more people that way that are interested. So, and we've already got the ramp. That's the main cost. So, hopefully it will live on longer.
How many times has that been resurfaced in that 20 years? Never.
Never.
Fucking, that's good.
I think it's had Might have had 4 or 5 sheets on the platform, like not 4
like peg marks.
Yeah, but like literally that first bit there where your pegs are, that might have been replaced once, maybe twice, tops. But the actual surface is still...
That's cost effective, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm sure, like, if someone was skating it, they'd probably find it a bit rough. Peg chinks out of it and stuff. But for bikes, it's still fast. Still fast, still solid.
Who's the people that you remember, like the visitors sessions that you? Because I remember one visitor session that was pretty fucking good. But you must have seen like more than me, obviously. Who you remember?
I mean, all the sessions were like not so much like big name visitors, but just those sessions when we used to have like, all the Japanese guys come down. We had quite a few Australians come down. There was just people from all over. Like it was just a multicultural ramp.
20 people on the deck at one point.
Yeah, and you'd struggle to get a ride in, but it was so like people were just.
Yeah,
you used to go nuts, didn't it? People used to just go off. Yeah. But then, obviously, we had quite a few. We've had people like drop by when they're on road trips. I think Tony Cardona's been there.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was thinking.
Matt Beringer.
I remember Randy Brown.
Brown,
really good.
Yeah, really, really good. And then there's loads of road trips that have come through. Like Ashley Charles has been there. He come on a Verde trip maybe, and like Lima and all those guys turned up. You might not have been there.
I wasn't there, no.
And then we had Corey Martinez come down with Nathan Williams and a few other, like loads. I think they'd been to like a shop show during the day, OT Cycles in Dartford, whatever legendary shop that Zach spoke about. And basically all the kids that had seen all like Corey and Nathan at the shop that day just come to the ramp as well. And we're like, all these kids are just like coming in, and we're like, private ramp. But they all come in. They weren't riding, they were just watching, which can't blame them really, you know. Like,
was there King? Who was the King guys? Remember? Tony Hamlin.
Yeah, Tony Hamlin, Crazy Tom.
I don't know if I was there for that session.
Yeah, you was there.
Yeah.
Was I?
There was like a few of them, weren't there?
Yeah.
And Tom Dillon was real good, wasn't
he? He punched the roof.
That's it, yeah. Can't think of who else was there. Jay Rowe. Was Jay Rowe there?
Yeah, Jay Rowe was there. But there was someone else with... Yeah, Tony Hamlin.
Tony Cardona was pretty wild when he came.
Yeah, he was like 2 bottles of wine in.
2 bottles of wine deep.
And then playing cards on the deck, weren't they?
Yeah. But all those sessions were good, like just having all those people down, like all like Japanese guys, Australian guys.
For a good, I'd say 5 years solid.
So, yeah,
it was like every Thursday it was like a session went
in,
didn't it?
Yeah.
Like it was proper, yeah. People look forward to that part of the way. I remember it, well.
Yeah, like every Thursday like morning it'd be like you'd be getting phone calls like ramp tonight, yep, see you there, ramp, yep. And what sessions? Like, we used to be there till I've driven home from the ramp and the sun's been coming up. I've been there so late because we'll ride and then we'll play football or frisbee or something. You know, it's 3 o'clock, and by the time you drive home, the sun's starting to come up in the summer, and then you've got work the next day. But
that was fucking good. That was good, man.
Hopefully it'll stay for at least another 3 years, and then continue after that. Hopefully.
Yeah. And what about the road falls trips?
They were good.
What number was you on? 11?
I was on
12.
I was on road falls 10 and road falls 12.
Okay.
And then I done a mega tour as well with Primo.
Okay.
Yeah, Primo.
And what was they like when you? There's not many English guys have been on road falls. It's quite rare.
I remember getting the invite. I wouldn't have got those invites if I didn't ride for T1. I don't think. But it's like I remember getting there, and like we said earlier, from like 1992, I've been watching videos of Vic Murphy on, like, kind of idolising the guy. Like, that's Vic Murphy, like Vic Murphy tabletop. Look at your shoulder, 1 foot tables. You know, like I love doing 1 foot tables because of Vic Murphy and like all the stuff that he does. And then he's on a trip. Like I'm there on a trip with him, and then all the other American riders were, like Van Homan, Corey Martin, all those guys. But like Vic Murphy was the guy.
He was like the
yeah.
Okay, because that was his big comeback as well, wasn't it? Like, not his big comeback, but like that was when he was back in the spotlight.
Yeah, and doing like, Dirt Brothers and riding for Odyssey.
It was cool. It was like this guy from the past who everyone liked, and then he's on Road Falls, which is a video that everyone was into. Yeah. And it was cool. Like it was good, wasn't it? It was a good spectacle. Yeah. Everyone seemed to love the fact that he was on it as well. Yeah. So
those trips were good. Bit of a kind of a shock to the system because like BMX has always just been a hobby to me. Yeah. It's never been a career.
It's a structure, right?
Yeah, it's never been a career for me or like, I've got to do this, make money, do that. And it was quite a shock to the system to see how that all happens. And it was I'm so used to getting to a skate park and just plodding around a bit. And like, you get to a park, it's like bang, 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 bang.
Okay.
I think it took me like half the trip to get into the swing of like, right, we're here, let's do it, like, and
switch it on.
Yeah, switch it on and get in the mood to actually just be like, right, let's go. Like, which kind of, you're there to make a video anyway.
Yeah.
But that was amazing. Got to meet obviously all-time hero Vic Murphy and then Edwin Delarosa and Vic Ayala as well.
They were on that one as well.
Yeah, they were like two of the favourites on there as well. And
what was that? Where did you fly to when you flew to like the city that they started in?
Yeah, so we flew. I think my flight was like Dallas and then to Portland. So it was a long flight.
Yeah,
I think I was jet lagged for like the first day and like slept most of it. But with clever editing, day one wasn't really day one. It was kind of day zero, and you don't really notice that too much. But yeah, they were great. Like traveling around and. Once, like I said before, like Fid said, imposter syndrome. You're there and all these... At the time, I think Corey Martinez was like... I don't know if he'd done the Square One video yet or not, but he was like coming
he was
up.
An upcomer, yeah.
Yeah,
He's a new guy.
Vic and Edwin were like the main street guys. Billy Dexter was on it
as well.
He was like a bit of a crazy guy.
Yeah.
Who else was on it?
Was Enz on that one?
Jason Enz on Road Falls 12.
Okay.
But... yeah, Road Falls 10 was amazing. All of the Road Falls I went on were great.
No T1, no other T1 guys on there?
No, I don't think so.
Brian Terrado.
Brian Terrado. Oh, how can I forget that?
Yeah.
Biz.
Yeah.
Brian Terrado did.
Wiz was he on?
Wiz was on it for like half of the trip.
Okay. Seth Kimborough?
Seth Kimborough. You remember more than me, and I was on the trip.
I remember when that video came out because I remember obviously my friends on it, and like I remember it being amazing as well.
Yeah.
So it was like it went for a few where I thought they're all right, but then that one came out. I was like, wow, this one's awesome.
I think they did like, yeah. I watched. Obviously, I watched the Road Falls as I was growing up as well, like Road Falls 1, and then they did kind of like fizz out a little bit. That might have been like
because we just got used to them as well.
Yeah, maybe.
But that Road Falls 10, I remember as being like a comeback, like a return to form from my view, from what I was viewing anyway. So yeah, definitely.
It's good to be part of that because like when you're on it, like you don't realise what's happening. Like you don't know how well it's going to come out, and you've got no idea. There's no like sneak peeks or anything before it comes out. It's literally like it's coming out. We're going to send you the DVD. You get it pretty much the same time as everyone else, and yeah.
So that's fucking
pleasantly surprised because
Stephen Hamilton on that one. I know he was on one of the ones.
No,
maybe on the next
12.
One
he was on. Okay. He was on 12. He might have been on 11 as well.
All right.
But 12. Yeah, pleasantly surprised how well that come out. I kind of woke up towards the end of the trip as well. Like kind of started feeling like I should be there. Maybe.
Yeah.
I felt a bit more comfortable riding.
Oh, nice.
That
good.
Edwin and the stickers.
Edwin and So one of the like I said, BMX has never been a career for me. It's just been a hobby. And if you watch Road Falls 10, like go back and watch it, you'll notice that Vic and Edwin are always wearing like a flannel shirt over a t-shirt. And at the time they had like a real good photo contingency deal with Zoo York and Etnies and whatever other sponsors they rode for. So what they'd have was just loads and loads of stickers stuck on the back of their t-shirt, all fluffed up, like so they would. And if they were going to shoot a picture or film a clip, they'd be like, "Oh, Stu, where are you going to stand for this clip?" And Stu's like, "I'm going to be here." They're like, "Sweet, sweet." Stickers off the back of the t-shirt, fully sticker in the bike up. And
their bikes.
Yeah, sticker. So the film and the picture would have like Zoo York, Etnies, like it'd be a perfect like sticker placement
in the background or of
no, like on their bike.
Oh,
like,
of their
so
bike.
yeah,
Okay.
so they would freshly sticker up their bike, and then once the shot was done, they'd be like,
back off,
back on the t-shirt. And I thought it's pretty, you know, like at the time that's their job.
Yeah.
And you know, that's how they made the money. So it was clever.
Yeah, yeah.
It kind of opened my eyes up to that stuff. I'd never done that, but then I'd kind of be like, if I put this sticker on my down tube, I table this way, so I'll put it up this way. Yeah. And it kind of makes you think more in that.
Well, give you something else to think about. Like the bike ride's hard enough, worrying about the sticker place. It's like.
But up to that, I joked with Mark Malone, like years, like when I rode for Odyssey, like, how would like a resume look for a BMX rider? Don't like riding comps. Don't like doing this. Don't like doing this. Don't give me some free parts. Yeah. And as you get older, you're like, I need to do this. I need like, I'm getting these parts for free. I need to do a little something for it. So getting pictures and stuff like that.
I think that sometimes you just because the age that you get like free stuff out is obviously when you're quite young.
Yeah.
Like nearly everyone is quite young, and then you grow, and then you get to a certain point where you think that you're kind of so important that you don't need to show but you're not. It's just part of growing up, isn't it? It's like you're not that important.
I always think about like being the whole young thing, you know, like the Bike 2000 thing.
Yeah.
I'm riding for Standard.
Yeah.
And the first person that asked me to ride for another like bike company, I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. Whereas probably should have been like, I ride for Standard at the moment, and like I'm doing this, but you're young and you're like, I'll do that.
Yeah. And
I guess that happens to riders now. That's why they ride for like all these different weird companies. You know, I'll take that. They're just taking it all on board.
Yeah.
But it definitely opened my eyes, and Vic and Edwin were real funny with it. Like you see at the end of the video, they're just like doing this with cash and stuff, and they were well funny. Love them.
What else we got? Then you end up going back for Road Falls 12.
Yep.
Was that just a similar thing, or?
Similar thing, yeah. Just kind of got an email like from the props guys just saying like, we're going to do Road Falls 12. Thinking of getting you and Stuart King on. And Stuart hadn't been riding like at all. Like King had come back a little bit. He'd done like the trail frame, and but he hadn't been riding much. And obviously Stuart said yeah. And we both went on that. And like I've always looked up to Stu, you know, like bought all the King stuff. And like I said, you go to Leon C and it's like, Stuart King.
Yeah.
And then you end up being friends with him. And for me, that happened so quick. Like going from these people who are like, you look up to them and you're like, oh, these people are like friends with them. Like I'm friends with them now. And like I kind of ride with them and hang out with them. But you get on Road Falls 12 and we all turn up and everyone's like, oh, it's Stuart King.
Oh,
like, the American riders on the trip, like Kevin Porter was like, Stuart King. Like, it's so good. It's amazing to meet you. And I'm like, I've always put Stuart like up here, and seeing those guys doing that. And
because he had that, like, he was big time over there, like riding all the BS contests and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
he
regular
was
as a
huge
pro
in America
for like 2 years or something.
Yeah.
So all those guys probably that's where they saw him, and
But they were excited.
That's
to see
fucking
him.
cool to hear that. Yeah, I never knew that.
Where did we ride? We went street riding in like this is another kind of like pinch yourself moment for me. We went street riding in Pittsburgh. Street riding, and these couple of bikers turn up. One's like quite a big chap. The other one's like quite a heavy set guy, and it's Ground Chuck and Jason Stig. And they're like, Stu, I haven't seen you for years.
You know, like used to go out before.
Yeah. Like you forget how much Stu had done.
Yeah.
And like all the people he'd met, and they were like, it's like buddies that ain't seen each other for ages, and it was like amazing just seeing those guys, seeing Stuart, but Stuart still, he rode quite a bit in that video. I don't think he got many clips, but he done some good stuff, and he enjoyed it. So
we talked about it last time. I think he might have. He was injured or something before that, or something was going on. Yeah, and he went because he just got the invite.
Just go, yeah. But that was that trip was kind of, I was a little bit more wise to it after being on 10.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
You kind of like
seen it, you know what it is.
Yeah. This is it. This is how it works. And on Road Falls 10, it was kind of like I'd just, you know me, I'd just go off and just ride.
Yeah.
And I'd be doing stuff, and they'd be like, "Oh, didn't film that." But on Road Falls 12, you're like, "Oh, I'm just thinking of doing this. Do you want to film it?" Like, yeah, of course. So I got a bit more wise to it in 12.
Confident about it.
Yeah, but 12 was good.
Yeah. So you had a few different people on 12 into the 11.
Yeah, quite a few different personalities, and got to go and ride. Nyquist was on it.
Okay,
that's
good. Right, yeah.
Nicest guy ever. Like, it's so good as well. Like, just literally rides everything. And got to meet Doyle because we went and rode his jumps.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't ride him. I had a little mishap that day.
What's the story of like contests? I never really paid attention, but you're not really into them.
Not really.
As you got older, like obviously, when you was younger, it was like just a norm. But
I didn't really ride many, did I? I rode the King of Concretes because I used to find them fun.
Yeah.
But I rode a couple of urban games.
Urban games was something I wanted to touch upon. Yeah, but keep going on the contest. Probably. Yeah. So do you think after urban games, you kind of like you was over the contest thing? How many times did you urban games? Twice or three times?
Urban games was twice, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, done it.
Because I remember the one year was real good, wasn't it? The way you jumped out of the thing was that was really cool.
Another Grotbags idea.
Was it?
Yeah. And that was what year was that? That was way before that cover.
Yeah, 100%.
And he was
commentating, was he?
Yeah, he was commentating. He kind of come over to me and he just kind of, I reckon you could do that. I reckon you could just, because the whole, like, I think Jimmy Levan was doing it every contest. He'd be like, jumping out of the park. Yeah, and Grotbags done I reckon you could do that. So there was barriers around because obviously it was you had like the spectators were segregated, and the barriers were probably like, don't know, 20.
It was a long way.
A long way back.
A long way
back. And my mate Dan Barnard that I used to ride with was there, and he was around there. I'm like, Dan, I'm going to do this at the end of my thing. And he's like, oh, clear the crowd. And he's there and he's clearing everyone. And I think he moved the fence in a tiny bit because we were worried I weren't going to make it. And I pedalled so hard and just jumped that. And I think I overcleared it by probably like 10 feet, maybe more than that.
That was the end of the run, wasn't it? Just
yeah. It was a good kind of
that was
exit
cool.
point.
I think you had you rode good all weekend, and that was the last run of the weekend. I think. Yeah. Was that the year that you alley-ooped?
No, that was.
Gap, or was that the one after?
I think that was the one after. Yeah.
I remember that as being pretty fucking epic as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that being the last thing as well. Like literally, I think mine might have been the last run, and
it was just getting dark.
Or it might have been a session. Did they do it as sessions rather than dedicated runs? But it was.
I remember, but I remember it as being like dusk or like one of the last things so it was like it went down pretty well. And that was the first Urban Games.
That was the first one. Yeah. That was. Yeah. I can't. Yeah, that was. It was quite good fun. Quite good fun, that comp.
But you rode the next year.
Rode the next year.
That was it, was it?
And then sacked it off after that. Yeah.
And that was like.
I think I
started you being like.
I entered a few comps after that, but it was very kind of like pick and choose.
Yeah.
I probably went to quite a few comps, and just I can't, like, in practice sessions, I can't bother to like fight for a run and stuff like that. To me, that makes it no fun whatsoever, and it's all about having fun.
Yeah.
So I would just be like,
no,
single session.
What was that?
That was when he picked.
Yeah, that was one of. So I think I entered a few King of Streets actually.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
One up in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Jerry entered
It
that.
was, they were quiet, weren't there? There weren't many people there.
That was
I didn't go, but I remember seeing the footage.
really like literally no crowd.
Yeah.
And done all right in that. Can't remember if I got second or third, maybe. Then there was one in Ali Pally.
Oh, that's
that
right.
I entered as well. That was on like the ice rink, and they built over it.
I'm surprised you wrote that, because that one, from looking on, I went there like quite late and just for a couple of hours. I remember being like, it's busy here.
I think a lot of the time, like those comps that I chose to go to, if there was something I wanted to do, like on the course, then I'd kind of enter just to do that.
Yeah.
And then be like I'd kind of like potter around, do some other bits, and then just do what I wanted to do. I wasn't worried about like placing or winning. But yeah, I went to simple session in Estonia.
I remember seeing the sequence, and it was like, the caption, I think, was if Scott Malyon was ever off the map, this put him back on it.
And then
I
probably
remember thinking that was a fucking cool caption.
And then probably went straight back off the map after that.
I remember that being, that's a fucking good caption.
That was all right. There was a guy called Risto, I think, that emailed me and said, "Oh, we're doing this thing. Do you want to come?" I'm never going to turn down a trip.
Yeah.
You know, like it was Estonia. I'd never been there before.
Was that Estonia in the winter, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like kind of, I think at the time I didn't even own a coat.
Yeah.
And you arrive and it's like minus whatever. So you're like in a hoodie and a t-shirt and freezing. But it was quite good. It was, I never really enjoyed qualifiers for competitions. I don't really get, what do you do in qualifiers? Do you just ride
reserved?
Do you ride reserved or do you just go? So I was kind of like, qualifiers, I saw that gap and I thought, well, I'm probably not going to qualify. I'm not, like there's people there like Nyquist, all those guys. I thought, I'm probably not going to qualify if I don't do that gap. And I want to do that gap. So I done it, pulled it, but hurt myself, qualified, but it's 2 inches to ride in finals. So I done what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And
job done.
Like I enjoyed myself, and like I think people might have enjoyed the whip as well. Like
I thought it looked.
It was like literally my whole run. I was working up to that. I think there was like a sub rail. I was like, right, I'll do that, and then I'll jump the box, do like a normal no foot step through one hand, which was just like a go-to trick, and then just cranked across the course and just.
So
just let it go.
You had one run to qualify or two?
I think it was 1 or 2, but I'd done that whip a couple of times and crashed.
Oh, okay.
So that's how I got injured. Like
crashed before you pulled it?
Yeah, I think I crashed twice. And then the last time I pulled it, I think I might have slipped the pedal. And in the sequence, you can kind of see me sort of like standing on my foot a bit funny. So I got injured and couldn't ride finals anyway. But it was fun.
What you wanted to do,
I don't really understand qualifiers. Do you just take it easy and ride reserved and hope you qualify, or just give it some?
I think qualifiers kind of works for like vert or something, doesn't it? But maybe not like stuff like that.
Yeah, but Estonia was all right. Like got to go out and take it in, and there was like a free party for all the riders, and there was like some English riders there, and it was all right.
Yeah, good.
Got told that I'd wasted my career by an English BMXer, what I won't mention. He was pretty drunk at the time. He's like, you've wasted your career riding for the companies that you've rode for. You could have done so much better. You could have done this. And I'm like, it's not a career.
It's just a hobby,
BMX has never been a career to me. It might be for you. Yeah. You might be trying to squeeze every cent out of it that you can, but it was never like that for me. I've always had a job, and like getting time off work to go do them trips was like a big thing. So those trips are almost like a holiday to me as well. It's like time off work.
Yeah, and if you want to ride your bike, it's perfect, isn't it?
That guy probably don't remember saying it because he was drunk. So
probably a good job there.
Yeah, bit of a tablet.
What company did he ride for? You remember?
Probably some weird company that paid him money.
Yeah.
Career rider.
We'll find out later when I ask you when I get his name off you.
Well, I'll tell you.
What I'm running out. What about the buddy system?
Oh, buddies.
On Road Falls.
You're talking about Road Falls 12?
Yeah.
Yeah, so on Road Falls 12, obviously you've got quite a lot of riders, and you've got camera crew, and you've got the drivers and stuff. So you have a buddy system, so no one gets left behind.
Yeah, so they pair you up.
Yeah, they pair you up. And I was paired up with Stu, two English guys, pair you up, both quite close, friends, whatever. And we were on the way to Chris Doyle's jumps, actually. And we were literally, we'd stopped for a drink or something, to go toilet or something, or on the service station. Then it was about an hour and a half drive, roughly, I'm not sure, to Doyle's jumps. Get to Doyle's jumps or near Doyle's jumps. I'm kind of like,
Did you get a phone call?
yeah, kind of, something's not quite right.
Weird, yeah.
And then my phone goes off, and I think it was either you or Ray, because it was Cyclone number ringing me. And I'm like, why are they ringing me? I answered it. And like I said, it was either you or Ray
I
going,
can't remember a bit.
you've left Stuart behind, you dickhead. And I'm like, we've left Stuart behind. So they dropped us all off at Doyle's jumps, and then they had to drive all the way back to pick Stu up, because Stu didn't have my number. I think he could only
so you'd done the hour and a half.
Yeah, we'd already driven a big long distance, and Stu didn't have my number. He could only remember Cyclone's number, just off the top of your head. It was 01992 or whatever it was. Yeah. So he rang Cyclone and was like, can you get in contact with Scott? They've left me behind in the middle of nowhere at a service station in America. Yeah, I wasn't the best buddy.
Buddy system
really.
didn't work.
Buddy system failed. I failed the buddy system.
Were they pissed?
Yeah, they were pretty pissed, yeah. That's what I mean, Marco, the driver of the rig, was quite a big guy. Bit of a gentle giant, but he kind of gave me the look a few times, the buddy system set up for a reason.
Fucking hell. I've heard that's the buddy system story by other people before,
Yeah, I messed it up. Poor old Stu. That's why I didn't ride Doyle's jumps, because they were a bit too big for me, but they were, that's why you don't see Stu. You see Stu, in the video, kind of pop his head up, towards the end of the session.
Oh, yeah.
They've just picked him up and brought him back. So, whoops. Not the best buddy.
Haven't you had 4 covers?
4 covers.
You had Dig.
The Dig one, yeah.
Dig on the
Union trip.
Yeah,
that was
Isn't there another turn then, isn't it?
It's a look. It's I think it's a fakey look back, kind of
over a hip sort of.
It's like a fakey sort of turn down.
Yeah, it's something in Union.
Hot fast and Union.
Hot fast. That was probably the best Union trip. You reckon?
That one.
You reckon? It felt the worst at the time.
Yeah,
it felt bad. Yeah.
I could talk about Union trips.
Yeah, that. I don't know. That was. You rode a lot on that trip. I remember that trip was a real battle to get people to ride. Everyone was livid. Can you remember?
That's what at the time it felt like the worst
trip
trip
ever.
It was
terrible.
But then it come out so good on the video.
And after that trip, we didn't do another one of them trips for 2 years or something. It was. I remember being from my perspective, I was like, "Fuck, this sucks. Everyone's livid. No one's riding." We've got the filmer with us who's come over from America specifically to film, and it's
and a photographer.
Yeah, and we were just
Ricky, weren't it? Ricky
under pressure, and everyone was livid, and no one wanted to ride. Only you and Fraggle basically was almost the only people that rode.
Mm.
Everyone else had an issue with something or someone, or it was.
Yeah, there was plenty of issues.
That was stressful. That one,
I remember getting back off that trip and just thinking,
"Get me home."
Fuck, I just want to be at home.
Yeah.
I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
But then looking back on it, you're like, it wasn't that bad. It was bad, but it made it what it was.
Remember the van rides as being
death traps.
Yeah, are we going to make it anywhere? Because whoever's driving, I don't know what it was about getting in that driver's seat, but you just turned
into a rally driver.
A demon.
Well, what were we were driving? I think it was Nays that was driving. So Nays is driving fast, obviously.
Hauling ass,
we're all in the back of the van, up in the nest. If we crashed, we'd all be dead.
You'd be fucked, yeah.
No seats, 13, maybe 13, 14, maybe 15 bikes, same amount of people. We're flying down motorways, and I'm up in the nest. We've all got our helmets on because those back doors kept popping open as well. And then just hear a bang and just get shattered with glass. And it was Nays hitting the central reservation with the Mirra.
Yeah.
And
because the roads, there was some roadworks going on at that point. And the road, it seemed like there was 5 inches between each side of the van.
We didn't slow down.
Like 90.
Yeah. There was no slowing down. And a few times I kind of, we were on the road for it, I fell asleep. You know, like you're drifting off to sleep and you're like, I might not wake up. Yeah. I might fall asleep and just...
I've definitely had that same sort of like, fuck this is driving is so dangerous, and I don't know why I feel like this is a life-threatening like drive we're doing every time we stepped in that van.
But it was kind of, it was like, you know, like it was like back in the van. You knew it was going to happen as well, and it was kind of exciting but scary at the same time. You're like, are we going to die?
And that's pretty funny to think that we'd been through the fireworks trips before that.
Pile of arse.
And we didn't think that they were life-threatening. No, but we didn't have fireworks in that van. No. And it was worse.
Yeah. Yeah, so the trip where we drove 12 hours straight with a 12-hour firework display in the back of a van that's driving at like 90 miles an hour, it didn't seem risky at all. That just seemed fun.
Yeah. This is the best part of the whole trip.
Like sliding fireworks down the back of like someone's jeans and stuff.
And got one down the back of his pants.
And that, in our minds, was safe. But the other one, where we're just...
But the other one felt more dangerous.
Yeah.
That, like...
The firework felt safe. Oh, this is normal. Let's have a firework display in the back of a van. But the one where we were literally hauling arse with, you know, Stu driving or other people. Yeah. Yeah, it was... whoever sat in that seat... It just turned him into a maniac. Like, I don't know why. But. Yeah. Yeah, that's why we all had our helmets on in that video.
If you look at any of the pictures from that trip, everyone's got helmets on.
Yeah, putting on a brave face.
Yeah.
We'd be dead because we used to stack the bikes up at the back, weren't we, in the
for
nest?
Space, yeah.
So if you had like a crash, all those bikes would come down on you. You'd be mangled. Didn't we? We hit a lorry. Didn't we go into the side of a lorry and get like a...
I can't remember. I just remember, like, it was just terrifying every time I got in there. Yeah. It was just like, and it was like the end of July and roasting hot, like
hot in the van. No air conditioning.
Yeah.
We had to make a makeshift mirror, didn't we? Break a mirror from somewhere and just like tape it around because it all got smashed off.
And then someone threw a tennis ball out of the window while we were driving along the motorway. Remember? Threw it out the window and it came back in. We was driving along and it came back in. So, like completely shouldn't be possible. It came back in. Fucking get rid of that.
Straight back in. Yeah, that trip. I remember like getting to the end of that, just thinking, "Fuck, I don't want to do
going
that."
round the roundabout the wrong way. In the morning as well.
Yeah. But I remember thinking, I don't want to do a trip like that again because that sucked. Everyone was angry, livid. But then it come out so good on that video as well. Consider like the crew we had as well were just a bunch of mates, weren't it? It weren't like everyone was like...
It was the people that we go on trips with most of the time anyway. So it
weren't like a crew of heavy hitters that were just going to be laying down. It was just like guys away on a trip.
Yeah.
And it come out really good, I think.
Yeah. With good music, with good editing, like good riding, like solid. Yeah, I think it turned out pretty well.
Union trips have always been fun though.
Yeah. I just remember that one as being like the pinnacle of the stress, like, because we had to meet some criteria. You couldn't just drift around.
You needed your clips per day.
Yeah.
Not having hotels.
Quotas there was, wasn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, you get your quotas on road hauls as well. Like you need this many clips off everyone a day.
Yeah.
But yeah, the good old days where you didn't have hotels booked, no seats in the van, drive around for hours trying to find a hotel and then get one at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Get 4 hours sleep. Yeah, like literally just get one. Get everyone all in one room.
Try and hoodwink the security guard or the guy on the desk. Like,
Yeah, room for 4.
So is that like props 50?
Yeah.
It starts with that mosh.
The intro,
Yeah.
That was the second time we'd done that as well.
The first time
like
spontaneous.
just it happened like organically, you know, like they're doing that and we're all just standing there looking at each other like just eyeing each other up. And we all knew it was going to. Like, it was. And then when the intro finishes, we just like straight back in, like just moshing, and then Stu was just like, "Need to do that again. We need to do that for the camera."
He didn't know it was going to happen. So camera was all over the place.
Did you do the Euro ones where you drove to Paris and then drove back to England?
Oh, the Euro Mega Tour, remember?
Yeah, Mega Tour, That was alright actually. It was quite
too
fun
bad.
for a week.
Everyone was confused, weren't they? Because we drove to Paris and then
just
drove
popped out
straight
it
back from Paris back. People didn't understand that like England was part of Europe as well at the time. They all kind of just stayed in Paris, Germany, like Holland, whatever, and we ended up getting like 4 ferries and missed all 4, didn't we?
There was some drama,
We missed every single one. Back in 2009, I had a motorbike crash, like just a dirt bike, like little like crosser kind of motorbike. Come off, like don't remember anything about it. Apparently I come off, crashed into a wooden post and hit my head. So I was out. I had a Belmoto 6 or something. It's got huge crack across like the top, like here. And I always remember my mum like telling me when I was a kid, if you ever hit your head, don't ever take your helmet off, your brains are falling out. So concussed to me is like, I'm not taking my helmet off. I'm not taking it off. What's happened? I'll leave it on. So my mates drove me to the hospital and I'm sitting there in the waiting room just with my helmet on. And the hospital staff come out and go, oh, what's happened? And they have to explain. And they said, well, why has he still got his helmet on? And I'm like, I don't want to take it off just in case my brains fall out. Like completely concussed, like scrambled up there completely. So eventually took my helmet off. They phoned my missus, she come in and they kept me in overnight. And I kept complaining that like I couldn't sleep because my chest was hurting. And it turns out that my head went into my chest and damaged my back. But obviously they weren't interested in my back or any of this. They were just interested in my head. So I went to the osteopath like once I kind of got a bit better, and like you knew me around then, and you knew, like my head was scrambled for probably
for about fucking 3 months.
Yeah, no, I weren't. I'd say I'm probably I'm still not right now, really. Like I can't explain what it is, but and even my missus says like you're different since that. So whatever. But I went to the osteopath like a few months after it happened. I said, oh, my back is killing me. And he felt around and he said, oh, there's something not quite right here. I'll do some adjustments. Whatever, felt better. And then probably about 2 years ago, doing jiu-jitsu, I like, literally just fell forward. Like from on my knees, fell forward, tapped my head, and I felt this like shock just go down this arm. And it just wouldn't go away. So I went to hospital like a few days later and said like, done this silly little thing, like tapped my head, and ever since then I can't really feel like these 3 fingers. So they x-rayed me and done is it an MRI where they put you in, or a CT scan? And they come, I was just sitting there like in the waiting room. They come back over and said, right, we need to lay you down and put a neck brace on you because we found some issues.
How many years after was this?
So the motorbike crash was 2009. And then this was about 2, maybe 3 years ago.
Okay. Oh, fuck it.
So it took all that time to come to a head. And it turned out I fractured my T12 at that time, like when I fell off the motorbike. That's the only time I can think that I'd done it, because I didn't do it then.
That's a vertebrae in your back.
Yeah, that's just around the midsection here. So I fractured that at some point, which I'm guessing is then.
Yeah.
And then from other injuries to my neck, there's no squishy bits between my vertebrae anymore. So they're all just pinching all the nerves. So it took about probably 3, maybe 4 months to get the feeling back in these fingers. But now this one's gone.
Oh, really?
So like the feeling is, you know, when you sleep on your arm at night time, you wake up and you're like, oh, like that pins and needle.
Yeah.
So that I've
Numbness.
constantly got that in there. So that's just BMX injuries and just stuff like that. But it's riding at the moment is a bit of a struggle. Like I ride for like a few hours and then this just starts like really hurting.
Hurting, or you just can't feel it. Can you feel it holding the grip?
I can feel, but it's just like I said, like when you wake up and you've been sleeping on your arm, and you're just like, well, it's like you haven't quite got all the feeling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got that. So I might have to get something done to my neck at some point.
Have you been back to the osteopath?
Yeah, and told him.
What did they say?
He's looked at my MRI and he said like, yeah, it's pretty badly worn. Like what they've said is true, and you're going to constantly just get trapped nerves, which is all. That's all that there is. It's like a trapped nerve that's getting trapped, but there's not much you can do about it unless you have surgery and get bits put in.
Well, they can't like manipulate it.
No, because the canals where the nerves come out, there isn't any room anymore, so they're just getting pinched the whole time. So at the moment, it's pinching something on this arm.
Fucking hell.
So, yeah.
Have you only been to one?
No,
same
like,
dude, or
this osteopath I've been seeing for years, so I trust him.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if maybe someone else might be like, can do this and that, because usually they come up with something. You know?
Yeah, he said it's something we can work with, but it's something you're gonna have to
that's
live.
what I meant. Like if you go like semi-frequent, they like.
Yeah, you're gonna have to live with it, but it's something we can hopefully work with. But that's just BMX injuries just over the years. I think like you can't when those injuries kind of like come up, you kind of think, I wonder if it was when I done that.
Yeah.
Maybe like I don't know. I was trying to learn flips at skate park, and I landed like literally on the top of my head, and like felt everything kind of like click. And for like the next couple of weeks after that, to get up out of bed, I'm having to lift my head up. So that might have been the point when I like squished everything, but that was ages ago. But things happen, don't they? Like BMX, you play BMX, you're going to get injuries, and I think
that's quite severe though. That one,
I still think I've been lucky though. Like
to the level you've done it. Totally.
Like a couple of broken thumbs, like broken knee surgery on that one.
Body still works pretty well, realistically. You know.
It could be a lot. Like could be a lot worse.
Yeah, of course it could. People have life changing.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucked up. Yeah. Thanks, Scott. Nice one, man. That was fucking cool.
There's
There's loads of stuff there that, like, I didn't know.